And the crazy thing is, twice as many people were sent back to federal prison for technical violations than for any new crime. So these are people, and when we say technical violations, we're talking about those violations such as curfews or any times where crossing county lines or associating with other known felons, and that as it was written, which is the sad reality, because we've seen situations where a guy's sentence would be up, but he can't go home because his brother lives at home with the mom, and the brother has also had a conviction.
Yes, I was gonna
So,
say that's what I was thinking.
so the sad reality is he can't even leave because he has no other place to go. And in a
Wow.
state like Mississippi and some other states where there's no transitional housing, there's no place for them to go. So dude is like, you know, so you mean to tell me my sentence has been up and I still got to be here because you have no place to go? And so there's fighting some of these things that are literally keeping us bound into some of these technical violations where real life situations. um Grandma's sick and people want to go to the hospital to see grandma, possibly for the last time, but you can't because grandma is in Johnson County, and because of your supervision you can't leave Smith County.
Mm.
So I can't see my loved one before. Yeah, and little nuances like that. Seen situations where it's been people who they co-parent, and while one of the persons was incarcerated, the parent got a new job and having to make means for their child, move to a different county. Now the parent gets out and they can't come back. I mean, they can't go to the child's recital or the awards program at the school because they can't leave this jurisdiction. And making these laws make sense.
Right.
You know what I mean? Stop there, as opposed to them being designed for, like any industry, returning customers,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to making this set up to make sure that they have a system of returning customers, making sure that there are people that are actually set up for success. And when we say set up for success, it's more than just do you have a place to stay? Can you get a job? And can you stay out of trouble? That's not necessarily the path for success. Because truth be told, you and I need more than that as we plan our lives without criminal convictions.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about wealth building. We talk about opportunities to really make use and value of resources. So for instance, if you and I talk about, make sure you get a job and make sure you have a 401k and understand the difference between a Roth IRA versus and so if that's necessary for people without convictions, what do you think people with who have been systems impacted need for success? They definitely need people to help them. Hey, look, man, this is what a checking account does. This is what a money market account does. This is the difference. This is why you can have this, why you need the savings here. What they need all those principles as well. It can't just be, do you have a job? You staying out of trouble? Is that, you know what I mean? It has
Right.
to be more than that, setting people up for success. Just because these numbers are what they are. And so to date, with Reform Alliance, we've worked in numerous states to try to get people earned time credits and caps on these probations, because people don't need to be while you're on probation. What people don't understand is you're living with the threat of being sent back to prison every day.
Mm.
One
It's one violation could one misunderstanding. It's situations where you can't have contact with law enforcement. Sounds like, well, they
You
should.
can't.
You cannot have contact with law enforcement, which means you're staying out of, which quote unquote should mean you're staying out of trouble. Well,
Right.
on the surface, that sounds like
Does contact with law enforcement include stop and frisk?
it.
Come on, go ahead, keep going.
I'm gonna
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna take it even further than this, further than that. You hit my car, you drive off. I can't call law enforcement because I'm on probation.
Dang.
I could get violated if the police have to write up a report about it.
If they hit your car.
I could get sent back to prison because my car got hit and the police did a report on it because I've had contact with law enforcement.
Wow.
So it's things that the system, because when we write it in black and white, and you got to remember, a lot of these laws stem from the time and the era where it was always, we got to be tough on crime. We got to be tough on crime. We got to be tough on crime. We're trying to live into a world and move into a world where we got to be smart on crime. It's not safe to have overrun prison systems. Because what we saw during the pandemic is all these prisons became incubators.
Yeah.
They just was cooking up the disease. And the difference is the people who were really getting affected, these small towns, because of course, prisons aren't in downtown metropolitan areas. So the people who were are very much affected were the correction officers and the facility people who work there come in and leave and take whatever communicable diseases back to the grocery stores in the little town, to the Family Dollar, to the Walmart, to the body shop, to the barber shop. And now these little bitty towns are infected at a higher rate because you have 4 people in a 2-person cell. And you're not practicing any of the safe policies necessary to keep people safe from these different various diseases. So again, there are a lot of layered problems.
Yes.
Simply, that's why our work of taking all these people who live with the threat of being thrown back in prison every day, minimizing that. And so to date, in just our 3 years of existence, we've passed 16 bills in 10 different states. And we have impacted, of that 4.5 million, we've impacted so far in our 3 years of existence, about 650,000 individuals who are on community supervision in those 16 pieces of legislation in those 10 different states. So looking to do much more and greater work, absolutely. So,